Well, hey guys, welcome to Star Wars on High. Thank you for stopping by. We are back with a surprise episode of the High Republic Show. This definitely was not on my radar, but I am pleasantly surprised we have a new episode to watch today. Now, unfortunately, Jimmy was unable to make it. He is currently at work. I just got home from work, so I am hooked up, ready to go, give you guys my reactions. As you know, I love to watch these episodes. Now, just a heads up, if you have never seen one of these before, spoilers. They are definitely going to talk about some of the most recent books and the events. So if you are not caught up yet, just click away now, come back, watch the episode later when you're all caught up. Beyond that, as you can see, I changed up the format this month. Let me know if you guys like the new approach. I'm trying out my new camera. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but appreciate the feedback. Tell me if it's bad. Tell me if it's great. I'm excited either way. So without further ado, what am I expecting this episode? Well, I really don't know. The title is called Phase 2 Reveals. So I'm definitely expecting Phase 2 reveals. And it also talks about the new authors, which we have not really been introduced to yet. So I'm excited for that as well. The team has really grown since the first phase. So without further ado, let's hit record. Let's get the screen going and
Today
let's
on
check
the
it
High
out.
Republic Show, we give a warm welcome to the new group of authors entering the High Republic era, meet a young Marchion Ro in the timeline,
Okay.
and reveal a fresh new batch of exclusives. The High Republic Show starts right now.
All right, let's go. Oh, Starlight. Love the branding on the show. Talk about it all the time. Big fan.
Hey y'all, hey friends! It's your good pal Christina Ariel, here to spread the good word, the latest and greatest High Republic news. And boy howdy do we have a lot to cover. Because right now we are standing at the exit door of Phase 1 of the High Republic. And we're so close to jumping back 150 years into Phase 2, but before we make the leap, we have a lot of comics and books to add to the timeline.
Okay, so here we go. Again, if you're still here, spoilers ahead.
It's a Marchion Ro flashback, y'all. Welcome to Everon, a harsh planet filled with wind, rain, and way too much electricity. The Evereni have adapted to the planet, but once a millennium, a vortex comes from the planet's core, destroying everything. No one trusts each other, and a centuries-long war breaks out. The few that are left, the Wanderers, leave the planet and find out they aren't alone in the galaxy, starting battles with anyone who crosses their path. A young Ro uses Mari Santeca's abilities for the first time, which impresses the Nile. Young Ro goes on to take full control of the small group of Nile, and they're never heard from again.
There you go.
Just kidding. Back to the present. Avon Staros is kidnapped by Cara Zuz.
So real quick before we move on too much, I will say, on Eye of the Storm, really liked Eye of the Storm. It was a two-parter. My general, and I think we'll probably talk about the second part at the end. I kind of feel like it could have been one part, like they didn't need to divide it up. It's not a huge deal, but I think it almost would have been more enjoyable to read as like one large book. But just my thoughts. All right, let's keep rolling.
Nile Tempest, and Vernestra Ro and her Padawan Emery Canteros travel to Dalna to investigate. But the Dalna authorities are unhelpful because the president has secretly sworn allegiance to the Nile. Cool. Avon is forced to help scientist Zadina Macampa perfect a machine that can produce groundquakes. After receiving a distress call from Avon, Vernestra comes to the rescue while Emery and Bep head to Starlight Beacon to get help. But Macampa activates her groundquake machine, forcing the people of Dalna to evacuate
Good
Starlight
camera
Beacon.
effects here.
Avon is saved, but realizes her mother somehow knows of Macampa's Nile activities. A Grindelid security operative named Prybolt is killed in a Nile attack on Corellia's Coronet City. Crash Angua is given 3 sunsets to find the killer or face Grindelid justice. Crash joins forces with Jedi Cantum Psi and Comac Vitus and figures out the city politicians have been working with the Nile. Elsewhere, Crix Camerad is being held in a cell in the Starhopper where Zine Morala is questioning him. Crix lets some vital information slip that Sabata is on the moon of Corellia called Gus Talon. Zine flies off to Corellia to warn the Jedi. The Nile assemble and storm Sans shipyards where they attempt to steal Republic warships to use in an ambush at the site of Starlight's demise. But not before Yoda, the Jedi, Crash's crew, and Coronet City civilians successfully defend the shipyards. Meanwhile, Jedi Master Buckets of Blood believes it's time for Lilith Solo to be knighted, but after meeting Saber for Hire Ty Yorick, she's unsure, considering a new life path and telling Zine how she feels about her. Barzala and Cord are knighted. Hooray! Back at the Nile Great Hall, Avar has her lightsaber raised above Lorna D, ready to strike. But Keeve Trennis jumps in and talks to Avar. Suddenly, Lorna grabs Keeve and holds a lightsaber to her neck. Avar uses the Force to push Lorna out of the way, saving Keeve. Returning to the IRAM system, Stellan informs Avar he's now head of Starlight Beacon after Avar's stunning against the Republic's wishes.
And,
The explosion cuts the conversation short.
There we go.
It's Starlight Beacon. Aboard Starlight Beacon, Keeve is face to face with the Nameless, but Skiers scares them off. But the Nameless took down Jedi Norin. Skiers' disconnect from the Force helps him against the Nameless. Silver lining, folks.
That's
Plan,
right.
Get to the hub and see if they can stop Starlight Beacon from drifting into the planet's atmosphere. Maru and Avar try holding the beacon together with the Force. The Song of the Force brings all the Jedi together as one, both living and gone, and brings Tarrant and Sarah out of their comas. While Maru stays behind to hold the beacon together, the rest unite on Iram. Keeve vows to find out what happened on Starlight and what those miserable creatures
It's a great
are.
cover.
Simultaneously,
episode
Cian
15.
Holt, Emmerich Captor, and Beastar begin to question Utterson. But
Love
it
Trail of
doesn't take
Shadows.
much because, surprise, Utterson has no moral code. He hands them a paper with a note about the Nameless, aka the Shri Kare, Eaters of the Force. Crashing into an already burning Starlight Beacon, the crew is met by Jedi Master Buckets of Blood and a group of Padawans who need a ride out, but not before Emmerich and Cian get their hands on some clues.
Big
Back
fan
in
of
the
Trail
days
Shadows.
Electric, it is revealed that Ro has Jedi Master Obertuck held hostage and forced to witness the destruction of Starlight Beacon. On Coruscant, Lena So and the Republic are questioning who Marchion Ro is and how he's been able to create so much destruction. Worried the Outer Rim is left vulnerable without Starlight, things are made even worse with the news that the Jedi have been recalled back to the Jedi Temple until they know more about Ro's, Jedi killing weapon. But what are these nameless creatures?
Let's go, Ro.
Flashback number 2. Ro and a small group of Nile head to a mysterious long-abandoned planet. After sacrificing some strike ships,
This was cool. This whole section kind of reminded me a little bit of the Mortis arc in Clone Wars. Just this kind of like, I don't know, this place that feels almost has like living power to it. Obviously not the exact same thing, but it reminded me of that.
the rest of the Nile arrive and call to the Nameless. They make the Jedi afraid, then weak, then dead, explains Ro. Yikes. Back to the present. The fears of Lena So and the Republic are made even worse when their ships rushing to provide help to the Outer Rim and Starlight are destroyed by the newly planted storm seeds, devices that will destroy any ship using hyperspace to enter the area without his permission. Double yikes. What's next for Lula Telesola? The Nameless somehow get creepier and creepier the more we find out about them. The Jedi being called away from the trouble in the Outer Rim? And Marchion Ro is now acting as bouncer of said Outer Rim? So many questions at the end of Phase 1. And speaking of
Let's
the
go,
end of Phase
Marchion.
1, let's say hello to the new group of authors joining the High Republic era in Phase 2.
All right, let's go.
Hi, I'm Zoraida Cordova, and I am the author of A Crash of Fate and now Convergence
Oh, wait.
from the High Republic
Okay.
Phase 2.
My name is George Mann, and I'm the author of Star Wars Myths and Fables, Dark Legends, Life Day Treasury, and now joining the High Republic.
Hi, my name is Lydia Kang. I am the author of The Right Hand Man, which was a short story in The Empire Strikes Back from a certain point of view. And I am also working in Phase 2 of the High Republic.
I am Tessa Grattan, author of YA and adult speculative fiction. My first project is co-writing with my friend Justina Ireland.
So my very first Star Wars memory, this is going to age me a little bit, but it was in 1977 watching A New Hope in the theater.
I was quite young, and I'd gone to the cinema with my grandfather to watch Empire Strikes Back, and from that point on I was addicted
Classic
to the comics,
Empire.
the action figures, the sticker books, and obviously the movies too.
My mom was a huge Star Wars fan, and I was so enchanted by the murder teddy bears, aka the Ewoks, that I gave up my own name. No tests, but was Wicket for anyone who asked. One of my first Star Wars memories was my mom's coworker giving my little brother and I a box of Star Wars toys. And with those toys came
Those are awesome.
movies in VHS form. And so we would watch the movies and act out the scenes with all the little figurines.
Over the pandemic, I've been keeping myself busy with other projects like making tiny crochet Grogu's. They're keeping me company. Makes me very happy.
So for me, the thing that resonates most about Star Wars is that idea of found family, that no matter who you are, no matter what journey you're on, there are people for you, there are people who care about you, that idea of people coming together.
Even the smallest person can make a difference. No matter how hard a situation feels like, you can come together with your friends, you can save the day.
I like how they showed the clip of R2 like just burning droids alive. They're like, that's great. All right, sorry.
And you can make a difference. I wanted to grow up and be a wizard who changed the world to make it better. And that's really what the Jedi were all about.
The fight and that push and pull between good and evil is always something I find really fascinating because it's never black and white. It's never really concrete. There's so many gray zones in that push and pull. And in every single story, you get to explore that. And we are living through a moment in Star Wars history where we get to see it unfold in front of us.
I love delving into relationships between histories and worlds and development of all of these really cool societies.
Oh my gosh. When I found out that I was going to be joining the High Republic team, I was a little bit just in shock. Like, is this actually really happening?
Like, are you sure? Did you mean to send this email to me?
As soon as I put the phone down, I probably did a bit of a dance in front of my kids.
I had to push my computer away because it came like crashing down on me.
There is so much responsibility that comes with working in the Star Wars universe.
I've got to make sure I can, live up to everything else that's been created for this.
I really...
Just to pause there. I mean, it's a great point. And one of the reasons that I am, considered maybe really, really positive or really forgiving is like the authors, the people working on these projects, they feel that pressure. And anytime a Star Wars project gets made that maybe you don't like or you have, problems with, it's never because the creatives, I think, are they're not being malicious, right? It's just maybe different ideas, different opinions. And so, they feel that pressure. And I'm sure it's a lot.
I'm happy to be doing this in my mother's memory.
It is both incredibly exciting and terrifying exploring this part of the timeline. There are so many new Jedi to meet, new Republic characters, especially the new worlds that we're going to be going to.
Cool.
The things that happen on this Earth are very much paralleled in the Star Wars universe.
The great things about the High Republic is we're exploring an era where anything could happen. No one's safe.
I'm so excited
Yes, I agree.
for readers to dive into Phase 2. I can't wait for everybody to meet the new characters, the new storylines, and it's a dream come true as a writer.
In terms of inspiration, I was kind of looking back at those classic adventure stories, kind of frontier tales, westerns. For me, it's a bit like the initiative itself. We've got this cast of characters going on this journey into the unknown, and that's a bit like what we're doing with Star Wars: The High Republic.
And now's the time for my favorite part of the episode where I get to sit down and chat with my High Republic besties. This time I'm joined by Mission to Disaster, author Justina Ireland, senior editor Rob Simpson, and author of Eye of the Storm, Charles Soule. Welcome, y'all.
Great to see you.
Great to see you as well. Now I'm going to start with you, Charles.
Okay.
Now, Marchion Ro and Light of the Jedi gave me nightmares, and they're now back after reading Eye of the Storm. Can you explain yourself and why you must make such an evil baddie?
Well, I did want to give you nightmares. I wanted to give everybody nightmares. I mean, the idea when you're making a villain is to make a villain. They got to be scary, right?
Yeah.
They got to do things that are terrible. They have to do things that ordinary people who are not villains wouldn't do. And when you're dealing with Star Wars, you already have people who blown up entire planets.
It's a great shot.
Have murdered younglings. So what we wanted to do with Marchion Ro was to make him unique. He has no force powers whatsoever. So the idea that Marchion is able to do everything he can do without the force, he's just smart and ruthless in his own way, was something that made him particularly unique and compelling within the Star Wars world. The other part of it is just his background, as we saw explored in Eye of the Storm, is pretty unique. The few survivors of his species, there aren't very many of his people in the galaxy at all. They've evolved kind of this very heightened sense of imminent danger, and the idea that you literally cannot trust anyone, and the only way that you can work with other people is if your goals are aligned with theirs. So you have a whole civilization that is like that. And Marchion Ro has not just been brought up in that through his own family, but also generationally, he's been hearing, do not trust anyone, never trust anyone, because the galaxy is against you. The galaxy is a storm, and it will strike when you're least expecting it.
You kind of pity him a little bit. Well, okay, maybe I do, and maybe that's the I can fix him era. But because he doesn't have the powers, because it is a lot of generational trauma that led to this villain, I find myself feeling a lot of empathy for Marchion.
That's the real tragedy of him, right? Is that if things had gone differently for him, he would be building instead of tearing down.
Now, Justina, you returned to Avon and Vernestra and Imri and Mission to Disaster.
Yep.
Now, given that these are younger characters and that story is initially meant for a middle grade audience, how do you determine the level of danger to put them in while still keeping the book action-packed?
It's a good question.
It's just about telling the story at a level that appreciates their life experience, but also has the same level of stakes and risk that you would expect in any other story. It's dangerous, and sometimes bad things happen. And there are ice skaters, so.
So what you're saying is that children are actually people.
I know, it's a revolutionary idea.
Now, Rob, you worked on all the comics and manga for this initiative. How exciting has that been for you?
It's been great. It's been great to see so many brand new worlds created and so many new characters created. Being able to have all of the characters from the novels and comics interweave as they have has been so much fun.
Are there any standout scenes or characters from these stories for you?
I always go back to Kiev from the very beginning, from the very first time I saw her. You know, she represented so much of how would someone who grew up around the Jedi taking that next step into being a fully realized Jedi.
Spoiler alert, I don't think she stays a Jedi.
She also has some of the best hair in the High Republic. Thank you for overseeing those looks.
And it's interesting because one of the decisions we made early on about the High Republic was that they were all going to be wearing the same uniforms. So there are only so many areas of self-expression that we could pull out for each character. And for her to be able to express herself through her hair and express herself through her growing more independent, I think has been great to see it reflected in her that way.
I think a lot of people don't understand how important, especially culturally, hair can be at times. And to see the amount of detail that's been put into it, the curl definition, even down to her shaved sides, to see those things represented, especially as someone...
Okay, so like, as someone who's like, who shaves their head, who's bald, like I feel personally attacked during this segment. I feel like they're rubbing it in how great it is to have hair. Like this is very offensive.
Hair.
I'm having a hard time with this.
As I do. It feels very nice to be seen, and it truly means a lot to me as a reader. Now this question is going to be for all three of you. I'm going to start with Rob. There's a lot of food in the High Republic. People are always eating and baking and cooking, which makes the characters instantly more relatable to readers. Was this a conscious choice as you were all writing, or are the Luminous writers just always hungry?
I think we're always hungry. All of us are always hungry. But it's been fun for me specifically because one of the side projects that a lot of people may not know I work on are some of our other Star Wars cookbooks available in the bookstore near you.
Oh, that's cool.
And subtle plug.
I'm sorry, that was like the least subtle plug ever.
I know. But it's been fun to see, however serious the adventure might be or the challenge they're facing might be, that they're able to take that moment to take a break and break bread. That's a center of all good storytelling, and to see that played out here has been a lot of fun.
Just to echo what Rob said, really, like food is a form of communion, right? It's a very universal experience. Everyone and everything, Star Wars or not, eats. It's a very, very character connected trait.
I love food.
It's just fun. You get to make up all kinds of stuff in Star Wars, but making up like weird cocktails in particular is something I enjoy.
But also,
I've been there.
It really gives you an idea of where a person comes from, depending on what they like and what they dislike. So there's like this running joke about poor Avon doesn't like Jabba stew, which for those of us in our galaxies, just chilling. Food is such an integral part of humanity that what better way to show that these characters have that aspect of humanity, even if they're not humans, than through food.
This initiative is about the golden age of the Jedi and what scares them. So what is your favorite example of a golden age moment? And what is your favorite example of a fearful, scary moment for the Jedi?
A perfect vision of that golden moment is the end of the first issue of the High Republic when Kiev is knighted. That captures that moment of Camelot, that moment of building a better society and building a happier future.
It's everything that the Republic stands for at this time, and it's everything that Markian and the Nihil are trying to destroy. As far as a moment of great fear for the Jedi, I think Jedi experience fear differently than we do. And I think if you were to talk about what would scare the Jedi the most, it would be that they wouldn't be able to save people anymore. They wouldn't be able to, protect the light.
I mean, we actually do see them trying their utmost to save not only other people, but themselves and each other. And it's been able to humanize the Jedi in a way.
Yeah. You do it with food, you do it with them being terrified, before you know it, they're actual people.
Ooh, this is actually one of my favorite questions. Who is a favorite character of yours that you have not written or edited that you would like to see more of?
I think for me it's Kiev. I do adore Kiev, and I think she's had such a strong character arc throughout this initiative that I'm excited to see what she's up to. I mean, I actually know what she's up to, but I'm excited for everybody else to see what she's up to when we check back in with her.
So a character I really like is Ram Jamaram. He is a kind of a Jedi dork, if such a thing could exist. He's just sort of incredibly charming and hilarious.
He's a great character. He's also one of my favorites as well. Now, Rob, who's your favorite?
That's interesting because so many have had slight walk-ons in the backgrounds of some of the comics, but I think the one character would be Adi Sun Zi, who I think is really only shown up in Tales from the Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
So to see that character explored a little bit more, that would be interesting.
Oh, that is fascinating.
It's a good pick.
Now we're at the end of Phase 1 of the High Republic. How are you feeling saying goodbye to some of the characters that you've been creating and also going into a new phase that is set 150 years behind?
I miss the characters already that we've been telling the stories about in Phase 1. We left it at quite a point of crisis.
I like the ending of
Phase
Fallen
1.
Star a
A lot
lot.
of crazy things have happened, and man, I want to know what's going to happen too. I can't wait to find out what's going to happen. But at the same time, getting to go back and explore an earlier part of the High Republic, as you will see, things are quite different then. I'm writing a story about Porter Engle in Phase 2, for example. Yeah, I guess Rob can plug, so can I. It's a lot of fun, and I think the readers are really going to like it too.
I look forward to your Porter Ingalls story with great interest. Now, Rob, how are you feeling about just this new adventure?
As the story outlines and the story discussions begin, getting to see this new chapter of the life of the galaxy unfold is really exciting. It's nice to feel off balance. It's a fun adventure to be on.
There's something satisfying about the end of a story. Like, I know
There
people
is.
are always mourn that things are over with, but just because something was over with doesn't mean it wasn't successful, that you didn't get what you needed out of it.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to, like, close the book for a little while, move on to something else, and then check back in with our faves. So yeah, I'm copacetic. I'm in a good place.
Well, I look forward to meeting all the characters that you all bring to life in Phase 2 and just hearing
All
more
right.
of your voices through these characters.
Coming to the end.
And I just want to thank you all so much for stopping
expecting
to chat
some
with me.
Phase 2 items here.
Okay, I may have said the roundtable is my favorite part of the episode, but it might actually be this. It's hashtag THRS questions time. You ask the questions and I get them answered by a reputable High Republic source. But this episode is special because we aren't going to just one reputable High Republic source. Nothing in the rulebook says I can only call on one. At Kerberos Cos asks, who has been the most unexpected character that fans have latched onto?
Geode.
Stellan Geos and Elzar Mann are probably the two biggest.
I'm the most surprised by the reaction to Elzar Mann, and I think it's really a testament to the writers who've created such a complicated and layered character.
Wet Bub, the evil Nihil Gungan.
Buckets of blood.
I think it's gotta be Skier. I don't think I anticipated so many people bonding with a Trandoshan so much.
Skier slaps.
Skier. Evil species that we've always thought, suddenly heroic.
At David Griff asks, if you had to choose one Jedi or Padawan to guide you safely through a Nihil attack, who would it be?
Buckets of blood.
Keith Trennis, probably because she's infiltrated the Nile before, so if she's made it inside the organization and back, I pretty much trust her with my life.
Avar Chris, for sure. I would trust Avar with any of our lives.
My immediate reaction to this is Avar Chris, because she's Avar Chris.
Love that art.
But then I started thinking about Porter Engle, the Blade of Bardata. So it's a tough call, but I really think that either one of them is going to get you through from one end to the other in one piece.
I guess I can't say Yoda. Yeah, Yoda.
I would choose Loden Greatstorm. Hanging out in the galaxy, having cool dude adventures. And I would like to have a cool dude adventure with Loden Greatstorm.
I actually think I would go with one of the pilots, either Sylvester Yarrow or Affie Hollow. I don't fly, so I want somebody to get me out of there.
From at Tim Owens, what special snacks, treats, or rituals have kept the authors going throughout the High Republic's creation?
Popcorn, whether it's microwave popcorn, white cheddar popcorn, you name
Popcorn
it.
slaps.
There's just something about editing a manuscript furiously and popping popcorn at the same time.
Kills
It
your
just
teeth
goes really
though.
well
You know what I mean?
I really like apples.
Oh, apples
cut
also
and
slap.
dipped in peanut butter.
Peanut butter's fine
Fantastic.
with
Great
apples.
too.
I'm cool with
I've
it.
been eating lots and lots of cashews.
Cashews are okay. I can only eat like a set
Black
amount though.
coffee and green tea.
I mean,
Black
every
coffee?
time I
No.
get to see Cat, I get Tunnix tea cakes, so that's pretty cool.
Any type of flaming hot chips and lots of Diet Coke.
Flaming hot chips
We
do
talk
slap.
all the time. We
Diet
talk at least
Coke does
once a
not.
week. A lot of times when things are heavy, we talk every single day. And so I think that the community that we've established between the 5 of us and really the 6 of us and the 10 of us, with when you really loop everybody in, has been a big part of keeping all this going and keeping us sane, especially through the pandemic.
Thanks. I'll need to add all those snacks to my next shopping list. If you have any High Republic questions that you want answered, tweet them to us using the handy dandy hashtag THRS questions. And maybe a High Republic expert will answer it in the next episode. You know what time it is now? It's time to reveal some exclusives.
All right.
Oh, what's that? Young adult novel, Path of Deceit by Tessa.
This cover is so ridiculously good. Like, I have a feeling we're going to be doing blue as the theme for the next wave, but I'm just looking at this. It is literally the best cover, I think, of all the High Republic books. I love the fact that it's like expanded out of the border. The color like gradient of like the mountains up to the dark. Like, this is S tier. This is so stinking good. And then we have like our Jedis kind of posed in the middle. It's just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Grattan and Justina Ireland. The cover features a Pantoran Jedi, a character known as the Mother, and is that an Everini character? The same species as Marchion Ro? Uh-oh. But not just any Everini character.
Oh, shoot. Pause. Marda Ro. Okay. Again, the blue theme. So we're going to be seeing blue for phase 2, which is actually really interesting. I kind of thought they might have gone like white. Like, you know, gold with white and then white with gold. And then phase 4 would be like, I don't even know. But it looks like they're going blue, which I'm 100% here for. 100%. Love the blue pick.
It's Marta Rowe. Aw, so sweet looking. But something tells me that sweetness won't last. In the novel, we're
Cool
on the
design.
planet Dalna, where a group of extremists believe that no one should be using the Force, especially not the Jedi. The group, called the Path of the Open Hand, is led by the Mother, and it sounds like things might get a little complicated when a member of the Path falls for a Jedi Padawan. Be on the lookout for more character and cover reveals at Star Wars Celebration. And for a closer look at even more details on what can be found within the pages, head to starwars.com/The High Republic. All right, so we updated the timeline, met the new authors, got some very important questions answered, and revealed some fresh exclusives. Well, guess that's it. And now it's time for my least favorite part of the episode, having to say goodbye to y'all, all my friends at home.
Okay.
But we will see each other next time. Until then, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us
All
on
right. Well, another High Republic show has come and gone. There was a little bit there at the end, though. I don't know if you heard, which is expect more reveals at Star Wars Celebration. So there is a panel for the High Republic, which has a lot of the authors on it. And so I'm expecting we're going to get even more details about Phase 2. I got to tell you, like, the book sounds really interesting. I love the idea about like this kind of cultist, anti-Force user group. That sounds really, really interesting to dive into. The cover is just so darn good. Just a phenomenal cover. And I unless I misheard, I don't think that was like an exclusive. Not like the Fallen Star cover I recently got from out of print. Like this is kind of, it's just a standard cover. S tier, great work whoever did the art design there. Okay, what did you think? Let me know down below. We are in kind of the lull between Phase 1 and Phase 2. We're expecting some more major announcements next month in May. And of course, we've got Kenobi. We've got, come tomorrow's stream, we're going to be talking a lot about the various different panels that are rumored for the Star Wars Celebration and the confirmed ones as well. It's going to be a very exciting time. Until then, guys, thank you for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think down below. Until then, we'll see you again very soon.